When we think of Jesus as our shepherd, we often have the images of a shepherd who will go after the one lost sheep, who calls us and restores us to the flock. We think of the shepherd who leads his sheep by still waters and green pastures. We think of a shepherd who leads us even through the valley of the shadow of death, where we don't fear evil because he's with us. We think of a shepherd who knows us by name and calls us out, and we recognize his voice and we follow him. And in this way, Jesus, the shepherd, the good shepherd, is our guide through life, where we can be secure in his flock. But in Matthew chapter 25, Jesus talks about one more role that he has as the shepherd. When all the nations will be brought before him, and he will separate them as a shepherd separates sheep and goats. In this role as shepherd, Jesus is the King of Kings who sits on the throne of heaven surrounded by angels, and he is the supreme and final judge. And so, as we read this passage from Matthew chapter 25, I pray that we would have hearts that are filled with his compassion, and that our every action in life would find good favor with him. Listen to this. Matthew chapter 25, verses 31 and following. But then, Jesus says, when the Son of Man comes in glory, and all the angels with him, and he sits on his glorious throne, and all the nations will be gathered before him, and he will separate them from one another as a shepherd separates sheep from the goats. And he will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed of my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundations of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me." Then the righteous will answer him, "Lord, when did we do these things? When did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or naked or in prison and come to you?" Then the king will answer and say to them, "Truly I say to you, to the extent that you did it to one of the least of these brothers of mine, even the least of them, you have done it to me." It's almost like Jesus has caught them unaware. The righteous are not motivated by reward. The righteous are not manipulative in the way that they serve others. The righteous just naturally do these things. So as we pray today, pray that the compassion of the Lord would be full in us, that we might have his love and his mercy towards others, and that, like Jesus, we might advocate for the disadvantaged. Brothers and sisters, be blessed.